e-cigs.co.uk, sponsors of the Haze Hour.
Yes, indeed they are sponsors of the Haze Hour, and it is Bank Holiday Monday, the 26th of May.
May Day.
Is it? Thought that was at the beginning. Is it not?
Oh no, wait a minute.
Spring Bank Holiday they call it now,
yes,
don't
Spring
they?
Bank Holiday.
Spring Bank Holiday.
Yes, of course.
Did it not used to be Whitsun?
It did, yes. Whit Monday.
Because we're not allowed to do religious things anymore, are we? Christmas has to be called something else. Winter solstice again.
Winter sol.
The winter solstice. I just call it Christmas. It's easier to say than the rest of it.
Isn't it just?
Well, the winter solstice, that's the 21st of December, isn't it?
Apparently.
Around out there, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely right. Yes. Now, before we get any further into the show and play the titles, because I know Keith is gagging for the titles, aren't you?
I always do.
He loves them to death, don't you? Yes.
You talk about insomnia. Yes.
Can be arranged. Yes. So, what was I going to say? I'll remember in a sec. Yes. They were asking about the Scrape version 2. Are we going to be talking about it? Well, we are now, but I haven't got one. I'm tempted to say yet, because you know what they say about when the cat's away?
The Scrape will play?
Well, the mice will play. I don't get my wife back till Thursday. She's in Lanzarote where it's cloudy and cold and it's been bright shiny sunshine here.
I hope she doesn't listen to this.
She might. I know she'll be eating and drinking by now. I hope. Pointless going on holiday and not being eating and drinking at 9 o'clock.
Well, particularly if it's raining.
Absolutely right, yes. So I might say if I can order one up, like you do. Reggie says it's now called a winter holiday. And Leanna Lawler says May Day is early May, Whitsun not called that. Not called what?
Whitsun.
Right. And apparently Jonty's been on the right stuff. I didn't even know the right stuff was on today.
Right.
Well, I've been busy.
I think a lot of the weekday programmes have gone out as normal.
Really? Yes. He's saying that they were talking about that they didn't want the NHS paying for e-cigs for people. And I think he's right, and there's a few more in chat agrees. Neil Ruff says he's right, the NHS shouldn't pay for them. And Moonlit says, well, if NHS is paying for patches and whatnot, but I'm happy buying my own vapes, I am very, very happy buying my own, and I don't want the NHS getting involved in prescribing them, frankly. I think that would be a mistake. I don't know. Don't want anybody.
Depends how you look at it, because I mean, a lot of people, the amount they pay on their prescriptions, which I believe is way over £7 now.
I think
If
it's
that
over
is the
£8
case,
now.
is it over 8 now?
I think so. Yeah.
Well,
if you're getting a $6.99 e-cig and you're paying £8 for the prescription.
That's what was passing through my mind.
Well, exactly right, because you've got one in your mitt, haven't you? $6.99 e-cig from Jai's.
No, that's not the Jai one.
No, that's the Kick one. Yes, Jill took the 2 Jai ones with her. Yes, NHS shouldn't pay, as Leanna Lawless has said. It's not medicine. It was last week, was it, John? Sorry, mate. I've been doing this flying about like a paper kite thing, and apparently, I look a bit like a blue-ass fly.
Oh.
All over everywhere. It's great. We are going to be talking about e-cigs, though, on tonight's show. He said doing a Clarkson, because Clarkson is one of the very best known vapors in the world. Jeremy Clarkson is absolutely right. We're going to be talking about something that Jeremy Clarkson would love. It's the Innokin DRV, which you use in what used to be the lighter socket in your car, and we're going to be having a look at that. And it comes with, this is rather pleasant, the iClear 16D, which I had not seen before. And I want to look at that kind of separately, as well as with the DRV, and you'll see why when we get there. And I've had a little bit of a puzzlement. You know, last week, Chris, well, you know, we looked at the brass Lernaia Hydra.
Indeed, yes.
Which I'm rather liking. And it came, that the sharp eagle-eyed amongst you will have noticed, with another little brass bit that screwed into the top, and could I hell work out what it was for? Thick. So I've been in touch with El Cigarette, and they've told me what it's for, and I'm going to tell you, and I'm ever so pleased they've told us. Because it's get custy lush like nout. That's the phrase. We all know what that means here, don't we? Don't we?
Do we? Crusty lush.
Get custy lush like nout. Moonlit's asking, how many iClears is that now?
Loads of them.
How many do you want? They've got top coil and bottom coil. They need to get some middle coil and some self coil. And then if we were to dig a pit, a depression in the garden that had straight sides and went down about 12 inches, and you put them all in there, that would be a coil oil.
Oh, God.
Coil oil. That's for the Yorkshire folks there. As I got some coil, put it in foil, then put wood in foil.
You're just delaying the music.
I know, I'm just building it up for you, Keith, because I know you like it.
Right.
I know you like it. Shall we do the titles?
We'll do the titles.
Here we go.
We'll do the titles.
So, ladies and gentlemen, hello, good evening, and welcome to the Haze Hour.
Haze Hour.
What she said.
It's gone.
It's finished.
Finished.
Are you pleased?
Yes.
Oh.
Chris was wigging it.
I was dancing. I was giving it what for.
Chair dancing. Yes. Yes. There's all kinds going on in chat here.
There always is.
Now, they've mentioned a piece. I'll have to scroll back in order to do this. And it says, anybody misreading the EU in wart.lu, EN, lifestyle, nicotine, buzz, e-cigarettes are attracting non-smokers to nicotine, EU warns. It's actually, that bit is an old story. The Commission did a myth-busting thing about e-cigs, filled with lies, and said it was all based on the crap they used in Trilog, and telling Farsalinos that he didn't know what he was talking about, basically. And it's all based on that. It's an old story. Why the hell somebody's seen fit to try and start and regurgitate that now, I do not know. But quite honestly, the science has moved on. It's crap. I think it's probably a story that was spiked 3-4 months ago, 5 months ago even, and they've decided to bring it out to fill a bit of space on the website. It's one of those things. It's a journalistic thing. Don't let it worry you. Yes. Midge Dog has asked, one day you must cut back from the titles to Keith rocking out in full Metal Gear.
That'll be the day.
There you go, look at that.
The only Metal Gear he's likely to have is a hammer to try and stop the music.
Now, you know, that was really apt, Chris, that, yes.
I know.
Yeah.
It was a good, subtle little link, that, wasn't it?
It was, yes. Bloody music. Music in inverted commas.
You malign the lad that wrote it and played it.
Has he got a hearing problem? Poor lad.
No,
Oh, right.
he studied at the Royal Academy.
I bet he did.
He did.
Did? Oh, right.
Oh, he's a proper musician. Good lad. Good lad. Yes. So all of that basically is penned by the brothers Height. There would appear that in journalistic circles, the brothers Height, they do like what do you call it, ghostwriting for an awful lot of newspapers.
Right.
So it's the brothers Height. There's Utash, Pylosh, Heaposh, Utash Height, Pylosh Height, and Heaposh Height.
Yes.
And Lodosh, that was the one I'd forgotten, Lodosh.
Lodosh.
Yes, they're writing for the Daily Mail and loads of other papers.
Right.
Yeah. So you say the byline. Well, you don't say the byline, but you know when you've read
Probably
it.
not the Guardian, though.
No, you'd be able to read. You would know. You would read through it and go, it's Lodosh Height, that. That's who wrote that. So that's the brothers Height. It's all good. It's all good. Rob Tiffy said, what is DD vaping on tonight? It seems extensive. I suppose I ought to really... Shall we explain? We'll do some explaining. Explaining. Right. This is all to do with the DRV, and that isn't a DRV. Obviously not, it isn't. But this is. I'll put the box in the way. You're going to be 30 seconds behind, aren't you, Chris?
Well, certainly the watching it is going to be quite a bit behind.
Right.
And for me, it's 57 seconds.
Oh dear, how sad.
Yeah.
Oops. Right, the DRV. The whole thing about the DRV, and this is I'll unscrew its coily lead. The whole thing about the DRV is it's meant to be used in the car. Hence, it plugs into what used to be your cigarette lighter socket. I'm really tempted to do this in a Clarkson-esque kind of voice because it's to do with cars, and this is Top Gear. Not the program. This is, because I've been using it quite a lot. So it goes into the cigarette lighter socket in your car, as you can tell, because it's got a silver nipple right there, and that goes in there. And then on the top you has an on and off switch here. I'm trying to get it so the lights aren't, there you go, with the iTaste logo on it. And then opposite the logo is where you would select your voltage, and this is voltage controlled, not wattage controlled. And I don't know how well you can see. I'm going to try and zoom in, but I make no promises here.
Doesn't it remind you of an old-fashioned telephone dial?
Just a bit.
It does indeed.
I don't know that I'm going to be able to get this into focus, but I'm trying.
You could always rest your cup on it, couldn't you?
You could.
It's not quite that big, I don't think. But where currently it's set to 6.4 volts. Okay, and then into this socket on the side, and it comes with this already plugged in. You plug the lead, and again, look, you can't make a mistake with any of this. This is not going to plug into the wrong voltage or the wrong socket, right? So you screw that in.
Even I couldn't.
You couldn't. You just couldn't. So that's the lead done, and as you can see, it's like an old-fashioned coily guitar lead. So on-off button, voltage selector, and as per usual, it rotates its way around like that, right? And then this here is the business end, the end upon which you would screw your iClear 16D, which I'm going to look at separately because this is something quite new to me. But it doesn't, this is the automatic one, right? So rather than have to press a button, you just drag and it works. But if you prefer to press a button, it also comes with a unit equipped with said button that screws in as well. So there you are. It's, in Clarkson-esque terms, this is a stick shift. This is your flappy paddles. Automatic. Very good stuff. Question, of course, is how does it work in the car? And really, I've got now to plug it into. Well, I can't plug it into anything in here because I haven't got a 12 volt outlet socket. So, no, it's not a CB microphone socket, and it doesn't do FM and AM either, Midge Dog. It looks nothing like a lawn sprinkler, Leanna Lawless. Marco Van Basten says it doubles up as a defibrillator. Not with 12 volts it won't. I suppose if you dropped it in your lap it could give you a little bit of a tickle. Kizzy says they'd only be interested if they make a Bluetooth version. And DJ Reptile said he'd keep on thinking he's on the mic and make an announcement. Look, I'll show you it in the car. This is it in the car and how it works. So this is the DRV in position, and as you can see, if I get in very close, just at this point here, 6.4 is lit up. The on-off switch is in the middle, so it's now switched off, and switch it back on. There you go. And as the wheel turns, you'll see that it lights up. Let's try and get in as close as possible. So this is the point at which the voltage is shown. And I'm going to take it back up to 6.4. and there you see it, and then pick up the device itself and give it a blast. So here it is, and rather pleasant. Again, it lights up. I'm reliably informed it lights up blue. And I think it's safe to say we'll light things out. And the one thing about a car battery, of course, is it's going to be damned difficult to make it run out of juice during the course of a day. I like this. I'll show you how the whole thing comes together. It's 2.1 ohm, and 2.1 ohm at 6.4 volts. I'll tell you how many amps and watts it draws later, or I might put it under here now. We'll see. Suffice it to say, this is rather pleasant to have in the car. Yeah, that was in the car. Now, here's the thing, you see, because I, like one or two people in chat thought, hang on a minute, when I did the calculations, 19 watts seemed like a bit much, but as luck would have it, in Chris's house, in Kat's house, and in my house are devices that will go up to 22 watts, are there not, Chris?
There are indeed.
One of which is very, very accurate. I know it's very, very accurate because I've had it on the old computer gurgitator, rubel sliding dubulating some fitting titten, and I've checked it out. I know what I mean. An oscilloscope, that was what I meant. Yes, I've had this. This is the Lernaia Hydra with the, I'll go to Dave Camp. It's the Lernaia Hydra, but the Lernaia Hydra with a Zorbas on top, and I've checked the voltages and wattages and everything out on the Zorbas, and it is hugely accurate. Actually is very accurate. The reason that we've got this long black thing in the middle, the astute and sharp-eyed amongst you will recognise that as being the extender that comes with a VTR, so you can put a big atomizer on top of it. And I thought that will take the iClear 16D, because the iClear 16D, as we'll see later on, needs an Ego style connector. So I've connected it all up and I took it up to 19 watts. And at 19 watts it was blistering. It was really, really hot. Whereas the vape in the car, as you could see, I mean, I was dragging on it like somebody not right, and there just wasn't an issue at all with it being over hot or anything. So I think the voltages are a little bit out of kilter. I didn't have the opportunity to stick it all on the scope because the scope's all in here and the car's out there, and I would need, and I'll sort it out another time to check all that out. So I don't think the voltages are fantastically accurate, but I reckon that was working around about 13 watts, 14 watts, there or thereabouts, and working very nicely. So I've stuck this iClear 16D on this just as a mode of comparison, and to get it working pretty much the same. And as somebody said, you just dial it around really until you find your sweet spot, then leave it alone. But we'll come on to the iClear 16D in a little bit more detail in the second or third half of the show. But you had a comment about it fitting, Chris.
Yeah, it looks rather large, and a lot of cigarette lighters in cars have been stuck in very obscure places, or even at
Exactly.
an angle, or and I have a feeling there could be a problem with depending what car you have, of getting that to fit.
Because these days, cigarette lighters are often not in obvious places.
Well, that's
In
right.
the same
they
way
don't
some
want them
cars
there.
don't have ashtrays.
Bloody stupid idea, isn't it?
Well, it is.
People making your mind up for you as to whether or not to put an ashtray in, put one in. No, I know what you mean. I mean, I must admit I had me doubts as to whether it would fit in the range, but it did. Unfortunately, I only have one vehicle to try it in at the minute, but I'm going to try it in a few others as well. And if anybody out there has one, gets one, try it in as many cars as you can. Let's put a list together of the cars that are
Just
not
wondering if it
DRV
would
compatible.
fit into mine.
Would you want to go and try it now?
Well, I won't do it now, but I will try it. And
Well,
just see.
I was going to put a roving camera together and we could have... I wonder if I can do it.
That would be a good idea.
We'll see if we can sort a roving camera out. And then we can go walk about round the streets.
Aye.
Because we were having a drinking party.
You're going to get arrested, you know.
Who is?
You two.
Why?
You cannot just go around trying it in different people's cars. And certainly not at
What?
night.
Why not? We'd leave the cars where they are, wouldn't we, Keith?
Oh, yes. Well, you've got Rachel's car as well.
We were just trying out this DVR, my lord. I can just hear the pair of you in court in the morning.
Honest, Gav, all we was doing was we had this piece of kit what has come from Innokin and we was trying it in various different places to see whether it would fit, and what we has discovered is it will fit in anything that costs more than £30,000 in it. What?
They'll probably bring one out now that you can use as a phone as well, because it does look a bit like a phone dial. Wouldn't you agree, Chris?
I would. Yeah.
Well,
But,
let me tell you. You know, I was across in Person Chester last week for a couple of days, Chris, and the drive to Person Chester, as many of you from this part of the world will be aware, is well, you can't call it Manchester anymore. That's not politically correct, and we've got to be feminist about it. Although
Person Chester.
Person Chester, so you get a person hull cover.
Like Harriet.
Harriet Har person. It's pronounced rather differently down south. Harriet Har person.
The Harpers.
Whole person, yes. There is a whole person. Yes. So it was about 2.5 hour drive to Worsley in Person Chester where we went, and that was great. I just don't have to worry about batteries or charging anything up. Dialed it in at 6.4, sat with it just perched between my lips. Didn't even
You had
need...
it last week?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
I thought it had just arrived.
No, I've been using it for nigh on a week. Arrived before we left, and it's cracking. Drove it all the way there. Well, I drove the car and used the DRV all the way there, and used the DRV all the way back, and it was lush.
So it's obviously completely new to the market, is it?
I've not seen them before. No, it's new to me. And the user guide is pretty good. It's actually written in proper English. It's only intended for use by people of legal smoking age. It's not to be used by non-smokers, children, pregnant or breastfeeding women, people with or at risk of heart disease, or people taking medication for depression or asthma. iTaste DRV is neither intended for use nor marketing as a smoking cessation device. So there. This unit, I nearly misread that and said this unit may include small pets, keep out of the reach of children and parts. That would have been wrong.
So where is that made?
China.
Guess so.
In the People's Republic of China. Chinese made by Innokin, and I quite like it. Its maximum output current, it tells you here, is 5 amps, and the maximum output wattage is 20 watts in watts mode. Trouble is I can't find how to get it into watts mode. It does say power it off when it's not in use, and I've read the instructions and I just can't find how to get it into watts mode. But yeah, it doesn't say anything about putting it into watts mode. but it will go up to 6.4 volts. That will do for me. You had something, Chris?
It's just various people are asking prices, and I did a bit of a Google and found them for $54.99.
Bargain.
Well, I thought it would have been at least twice that.
Well, I'm going to tell you for why it's a bargain. You know they're bringing this bloody silly law in to stop adults from smoking in a car with children in.
Yes.
What they will be looking for, of course, and I'm going to have to do, I've got a looky likey here, is that. Right? And of course, with the DRV, with its iClear 16D on top, I'll unscrew it off the other doohickey, as you do. And I'm going to suck on this and it's not going to work. But if you've got it in auto mode, your hand does not need to come up. So you can sit there like that and you is just vaping.
Right. So how far do you think that would stretch?
Well, grab hold of it.
Yeah, in a small car, even somebody in the back.
Aye,
I was wondering that.
absolutely. Bang on, man. And like guitar leads, the longer you use it, the more that ends up stretching out and staying stretched out. You can see now it's losing the spring.
Yes.
So you can get it where you want it. It's quite comfortable. It's no major problem. I like it, and at 55 quid ish, I think it's not a bad price. And like I say, you don't have to buy any batteries for it.
Exactly.
Well, if you've got to buy a battery for your car, you'll know about it. But yeah, it's cool. Like it a lot. Interesting piece of kit. Interesting piece of kit. Scootaloo says it's a good law if you ask me. I think any law that stops you from doing things is a bad law. There's the Tesla supercharger and a Citroen Saxo VTR. Clarkson needs to get into vaping reviews. I can just see that coming. I can just see him with the DVR plugged in, and the whole car's absolutely brilliant, but the VTR doesn't fit, and so he tells it the car's rubbish. There you go. Good Lord, it's 25 past. We better do some adverts. What are you reading, Chris?
I'm looking up something you would not believe at the moment.
Oh.
So nothing vape related, but you know the things we have to do in chat.
I see. We'll go up the adverts and then you can tell me. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
SaveThe6.co.uk sponsors of the Haze Hour. SaveThe6 sponsors of the Haze Hour.
And we are back in the room, and there's been much chat about one Jeremy Clarkson Esquire and the hamster. And yes, I can just see Jeremy Clarkson Esquire in a car giving it hot licks and hamster running behind shouting, "Can I borrow your juice?" That would be alright. And Chris has told me what she was looking up, and we're not going there. We're just not going there. My lugs.
Itchy scratchies.
Itchy scratchies. We'll have none of that. Shall we do this iClear 16D, and then Thee and I can compare? Should put yours up to the camera again, Chris? There you are. Now everybody note, inwardly digest, look at the shape of all of that little lot, and I will take a brand new iClear i16D out of the box, and you'll see that it's brand new. Thanks, Chris. Closely up you come, here we go. Right, so iClear 16D, you can tell because that's what it says on the box. There it is. Dual coil clearomizer. Chuckity poos, and here we go. Oh God. There we go. Right, I know this is going to take 57 seconds to get to you, Chris, and I do apologise for that. The construction of this is really rather good. Now, really trying to get the lighting right here so you can see. You'll see down here where it says 2.1 ohms, so that's pretty well clear as to what it is. You can see all of the markings and everything there, and you can see VW VV, so it's meant for variable wattage and variable voltage devices, in particular the Innokin ones. So let's take the top off and see what we have inside. Now, one of the first things you'll notice is that the draw tube is clear. Is the draw tube clear in yours, Chris?
Yes.
Completely clear? Go to Chris.
Completely clear.
Completely clear. And if I take this little rubber bungy thing off the end, let's do a comparison for the shape of the top, the mouthpiece. So there's mine, and here's Chris's coming, and I'm just wondering if we can put them side by side. If there's any difference, Chris, they both alike.
They're both alike. I think I can't see it yet, but
I think they both alike.
well, looking at yours and looking at mine, they are identical.
Right. Okay, so let's have a look now at the guts, at the bits that go on the inside, and here it is. Now I'm just gonna go to the wide shot for a second because I need to go and get the menu up on the camera for this one. I am so sorry about this, but to get it close enough, which is what I really want to do, I want you to be able to see exactly what's going on here, so I've got to change the camera over into mega super close-up mode, which is, they call it telemacro.
This is where we are slightly different.
We are?
All these things sort of are based on the EVOD, aren't they?
I think so. I certainly get that feeling. Right. I am now about as close as I can get, so let's go to closely up you can, and here it is. And this is what you've got on the inside. I shall unscrew the dual coil, and the base is much as you would expect, with, as you can see, 4 little air holes. You can see those really clearly, look, little air holes drilled through, and this is the coil. And you know, I'm not convinced it is that different, Chris. I think the technology is identical.
Well, I've got the 4 little air holes on the bottom. I mean, that looks the longer one that you tend to see in the Pro tanks, doesn't it?
Yes.
Or what was the first one that came out? Was it the E3?
Something
Wasn't
like that.
One of the first ones, and then we had the EVODs.
See, I'm looking at yours and then looking back at this, and it seems that this external piece with the ohms written on it is the difference.
And I've got a little plastic.
Well, there is a little
cap
plastic.
here.
There's a little plastic cap, but it's under that ring.
Right, well, mine is over.
Oh, I think I need to get a screwdriver onto this and see whether it'll come off.
I mean, I've got a tiny. Everything is identical further down. I've got the tiny little O-ring. And this one is 2.4. There was a choice of 1.8, 2.4, 2.8. with these.
I can't quite lever this off. I think that's the difference. I think that this external cap is the only difference between them. However, the thing about it is that this does seem very happy with higher voltages. I shall fill this one with my current vape so that people can see what's going on. Go back to full screen closey uppy and you'll see, oh, that's an ideal shot, so that people know how to fill these. And let's just put some juice in and you'll see how far up I like to take it. I'll have to fill it down the back, otherwise it'll all go.
What's the capacity? 5?
I'll have to, no, you're joking, it's 2.
Same as you,
it's
I've got the increments of the measure
Yeah,
on the outside. That's on the tank as well.
I'm trying to do this in very steadily, and I tend to take it up to as level with that top bit as I can get.
But it damn well produces.
And here's a little hint for people that have never used these before. I also put a couple of drips in there so that it gives the coil a good wetting and you don't have to wait as long in order for the damn thing to be usable. So let's screw it in.
In answer to DJ Reptile, no, they're not both supposed to be an iClear 16. This one I bought probably near a year ago, along with a few others, and it's been sitting in a drawer, and this one is simply called the G5H2 Clearomizer. I don't know if it's dual coil. I don't think so.
You would be able to tell if there was 4 little thingies sticking out,
Only 2.
in which case it's single coil. Right, I've knocked this up to and it's reading 2 ohms on.
Yes, please, Andy Yardbrook. Yes, please. Yes, please.
What?
Sorry, I had to say that
Why?
because he typed in, "Does anybody want me to batter BT for them?"
I'm thinking that's going to be a big yes on behalf of Chris,
Yes, please.
without a doubt. Right, so we should be able to see on closey uppy cam. There we go, 14 watts. It's reading at 2 ohms, 5.29. So there we go. Let's give it a blast at that. And it's had long enough now, I think, to soak through. I'll check it for you though, Keith. There you are, young sir. Wrap your laughing tackle around that and tell us what you think.
The performance is virtually identical, isn't
It's
it?
corking.
But the point is, there are a lot of these type of devices on the go. I mean, you know me, I've been using those for weeks now.
You have?
And that was because we got the Smokio, and it had one of these on, so I ordered a pile of them. They're CE5s. And Smokio have now said they are changing to the EVOD
Yes.
because the CE5 is unreliable. And I'm thinking,
God, that's it.
so it's all horses for courses, I'm afraid.
Yeah. How are you finding it, Keith?
Super.
Looks huge in your hands.
These clearomizers do deliver, like, they are good.
Certainly with a bit of power under them. You haven't got a shirt pocket, have you?
No,
Oh dear. How sad.
I haven't.
Never
no.
mind, eh? It looks as though you're not alone with BT, Chris, because Leanna Lawless is saying that BT says she has no internet and no phone, but she has both. Apparently management don't work weekends.
Yeah, don't start me off, Leanna. I've had such a stressful weekend with them.
We're kicking quite a fug up here.
God.
Might be time to go to the adverts while we
Clear the air.
Yes, clear the air.
clear the air, and in my case, get another drink. You ready for another one?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, well, I'm having one. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Glasses charged, and yes, it's all good stuff, isn't it? Back in 2.
Safer 6, sponsors of the Haze Hour. Safer 6, sponsors of the Haze Hour.
Aye. So,
Very impressed.
yes.
So would that go on this?
Yes. Standard ego threading. Swap them over. See what you think.
Right, I'll put that down.
Zoom in on Keith. There's technology happening. Do I need to explain? I'm just wondering how many new folks we've got that might not know what I mean by ego threading. I'd better run that, had I, Chris?
Yeah.
I'll do that. I'll go as closely up you can and do it that way. Ego threading, right. If you have a thread that looks like that has this external thread, that's what we know as ego threading. Now, if you look inside this, which is an Aspire BDC, right, you'll see, and these have all come from the same place, you will see that there's a thread around that way, David. That's the outside section. There's no thread in the middle as you would get on a 510. And a 510 thread, he said, reaching across, looks like that. So the threading is on the outside of the bit that you see. Yes? That's where the threading is. On an ego thread, you need this outside thread on there in order to be able to plug it all together. That's the way that works. So if it's ego threaded, it's got some threading on the outside, and that will require an ego thread, he said, getting everything wrong. I was going to do something else and I've forgotten what it was now.
This is what happens when we get old.
Old and stupid in my case.
Very nice, that.
I've actually left something in the dining room that I wanted to bring through. What you, yes, this is where David looks a complete numpty. Have you?
Not at all.
You've got that on the standard ego battery now.
Yes.
Right. I'm going to put you in close up and dodge past you because I need to go into the kitchen.
Right, then.
And you and Chris can talk everybody through it. Because what are you using it on, Chris, and what voltage and stuff like that? I'll put you. Put you side by side.
Whatever you call it, the dove pole. Dove pole.
Squeezing past.
That
Do
sounds
apologise.
quite nice,
Sorry.
doesn't it? I'm on the ice maker. That's my name for it. And that works really well because that has the very nice, usual, run-of-the-mill type threading that can do for ego very, very nicely.
Well, that just
So
went
it
on
works
perfectly,
well.
that. No problem at all. And it's
No.
certainly producing.
Good.
They do.
And it's producing it at 3.6 or 3.3 or whatever that is.
Is this 3.6?
It's less than, I think.
I mean, this I've got at 4.4 volts, I believe. Or watts, I don't know.
It'll be volts, not watts. If you're at 4.4, yeah, you'd be miles away.
Basically 9. It's up at about 9 watts, isn't it? And that works nicely for me.
Well, it does. It does seem. It does seem as though.
What does the LVT go down to?
I don't know. Is it blast of that one, Keith?
Yeah.
3.7, I believe, Reggie. In fact, I'm pretty sure it does. But as these things have got like a VAMO board in, where you've got to press 2 buttons to get it to go up or down, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm not going to find out because I end up with the torch switched on and all kinds of things.
Yes.
Torch.
He's asking what ohms it'll go down to. What's the lowest resistance that it'll handle, Chris? Do we know?
Oh, it's...
Will it go sub? Will it take a sub-ohm coil, for instance?
It probably would, yes.
There you go.
Yes, is my answer to that.
That's
See there, that's
all you need to know. Yes. I'm just checking which one you've given us back.
I knew you'd say that.
Well, you've got to. I need to say thank you actually for the DRV and the 16D, and I'll say the thank you voicing over. It was Vapors Juice that sent it up. There you go. That's their card from 5 The Arcade, Bedford, MK40 1NS. I read that as INS. There's phone numbers and everything there. Thank you for that. I do appreciate that coming up, and I'm gonna say that's gonna get a lot of use every time I'm out in the car. And I have the feeling that my darling wife, because I know what Jill's like. You know when they're going out, ladies, you know this, Chris. There's a mod or a device or two goes in the handbag.
Yes.
She never puts a bottle of juice in, but she makes sure she's full before she goes out. Whatever, they go in the handbag. The bum hits the seat. This is the bit I don't get. It's all gone into the handbag. The handbag's been fastened. The hasp and staple, the padlock, the chains round it,
All the usual slap.
the alarm set, and all of that kind of stuff. And then the minute the bum hits the seat, the handbag gets open. They both get taken out and put on the dashboard.
Really? Wow.
It's like, do what I do, just carry it.
Yes.
But never mind.
So they're about a fiver, you say?
There or thereabouts, I would think so. Yes, I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but around about a fiver, 1,000. I wouldn't mind 1,000 actually. They're nice. Abru says an SVD goes down to 0.8, but it's useless at that resistance. And Rob Teffy said he hates it when people phone up in the middle of a vape show. He'll have to catch up later. Do what I do. Answer the door with no clothes on. Oh, you can't do that on a phone, can you? You can if it's FaceTime.
Yes.
So
No
there you
answer
go.
to that.
All good. Good. I hope that's helping people. I just want to do this because, you know, sometimes you feel like you're such a numpty. Go to close you up you can. What you see before you, there, you can see what that is. That is a Kayfun 3.1, and you can see that it hasn't got its little bottom bit on because it has connecticated directly, he said, keeping it on camera, onto here we go, and this is where we discover I hate these things for leaking. They're an absolute swine. Right. Just in case, because I don't want to damage me bit of white paper. It has. My own fault. I filled it from the top because I can't get it to fill from the bottom. But, as I say, last week you might have recalled seeing this in that lovely antique box.
Yes.
And it is an adapter that allows you to have your Kayfun screwed onto your Lernaia Hydra as if it were a hybrid. So that just screws in nice and tight, and get me cloth and do the tight screwy in thing like you do. So close up, it's ridiculous, isn't it? And then here it goes, lefty tighty righty loosey, because it's the top thread, and there you are, like that. And as per usual, if you try to over tighten it, it'll start and unscrew. So there comes that point, you can just see that it just slightly, and there you are, it's right, exactly right. And while I've got it closely up as well, when I was talking to the guys from e-cigs, they pointed out, and I'd missed this, it just goes to show you, that's one of the connectors that has no air grooves in, and that's meant for use not with these sort of things, but with where am I? I can't find what I'm looking for once in my life. For meshwick devices or other devices where the air doesn't come in at the bottom as it would on a standard 510, which has the air holes. Come on, David, get in the middle of the shot, turn it around. Air holes just above the thread, as you can see there. So yes, I've got that one set up for the any vape David, and as usual with all of these, it's lefty loosey, no, lefty tighty right. Oh dear, Chris, can you say it for me please, because my mouth is not working tonight.
Lefty
tighty,
lefty tighty righty loosey.
Yes,
lefty tighty righty loosey.
Lefty
I would
tighty,
never get that right.
Lefty tighty righty loosey. It's a left hand thread, in other words, is what it is. And I have to say, I never thought I would actually say this, but as you will attest, and as other members of the team will attest when we've been on Skype, this Prince of Darkness little 18500 mod has been getting an awful lot of use. And look, it's not manky. Even the gold plated button is not manky. And I'll say again, as I said a couple of weeks back, these are the only bottom button mods I've been able to get away with.
It's class, that.
They're gorgeous. Black, they are really, really
black
nice.
Black one in particular.
The black one?
In particular.
You like the black one, do you? Yeah, I'll just put that over there then. That's just...
And I mean, you've hardly got to touch the button.
Very, very nice. I'm liking that. So yes, today I suppose is the first day of the new European Parliament, isn't it, Chris?
Oh, sad day, sad.
Sad day. Sad day. We knew Rebecca Taylor was retiring from political office in Europe. She stood down anyway, so we lost one staunch supporter of e-cigs. We've lost Marina Yanakadakis from London. She lost her seat. Another one who was very voluble. We've lost Martin Callanan, the North East.
That's the biggest shock.
I didn't see that coming, and I don't think he did either.
No, I mean, he's been, you know, an MEP since 1999. And then for this to happen, I'm gutted for him, I really am. Likewise with Nikki, after all she's done, I'm gutted for her.
Yes, Nikki Sinclair was the next one on the list of vape-friendly MEPs that have gone. None more vape-friendly, I don't think, than Nikki Sinclair. I mean, tireless, absolutely tireless, and fearless as well when it came to e-cigs.
Well, let's face it, I mean, what's happened is, in recent political history, unprecedented.
Well, to be absolutely accurate about it, UKIP have 24 seats, Labour have 20 seats, Conservatives have 19 seats, and the Turncoats, the Lib Dems, have 1.
And And I haven't seen any news today, but hasn't there been some sensation in France?
Yes, Marine Le Pen's Front National, the National
Yes.
Front of France, has swept
they?
the country. Yeah, absolutely
Have
swept
they
the
really?
country. Yeah, absolutely. It's
But there's been some surprising results all over Europe. It makes you think there's going to be some strange times ahead, doesn't it?
it does a bit, and as Disco Des has said, and as we said last night, it's a shame McAvan didn't go. But she did get knocked down at the second by UKIP, which is good. And it's a shame that the rest of the... I was counting on my fingers there. That actually is counting, even though I was thinking of Glenys Wilmot. It's a shame Glenys didn't go. But she also got knocked back third place, Glenys was. And both of those were the first choices, if you like, in their local constituencies. I mean, it would have been lovely to see the back of McAvan, quite frankly. Because not only do I not agree with her politics, but I'm actually not that fond of her as a person. That is my opinion, based on what I have seen. And it's a great shame that we're left with her. But here's the upside of it. And it's a plug for the Dodo box, EFVI. If we do get all of those signatures, if I get the chance, if I'm asked to have anything to do with it, I would respectfully request the privilege of inviting her personally to come and sit through the presentation so she can see what real science is, and I want to watch her cringe as all of her lies and innuendo are thrown in her face, and then she can kiss my fat hairy arse. That's fair enough, isn't it?
That's fair enough, yeah.
Yes, very poetically put, yes.
Very, yes.
I thought so. I did think so.
Yes, so
So-
no answer to that, Chris.
Well, there is.
Not a lot really, is there?
May the 31st, Saturday, May the 31st, vapors gather together wherever ye may be. Take with you Dodo box signature forms, get signatures. See if we can do 1 million on Saturday. Wouldn't that be glorious?
Wouldn't it just?
That would be glorious. Yes.
But we are doing really well. I'm really proud of how this is all working and the effort that everybody's putting into it. You know, the organisers, they're doing such a good job.
I've said this, I don't know how many times, and I'll keep on saying it. I think they're doing a brilliant job. I think it's a brilliant initiative, and it's now being picked up in both France and Germany. In terms of the Dodo box and pulling signatures together. I think it's absolutely fabulous, and more power to everybody that gets out there collecting signatures. I mean, Rithian Mann was tweeting today, I think he got 45 signatures today, sat in a deck chair outside a shopping mall or something like that. It's brilliant. It is so good to hear. Brilliant. I'm trying to read
Absolutely
chat.
amazing.
Yes, I am more that I'm anti the EU telling us what to bloody do. And apparently I'm the master of subtlety. Did you know that?
Really?
Yes, well,
Somebody's been really polite. Egomaniac, isn't he?
I've never guessed.
Yes, master of subtlety. I hadn't realised it would take about a minute for that to get there. And Abrew says he'll likely be vaping in the pub with a few others on Saturday. How coincidental is that?
Doesn't Farage smoke?
He smokes and vapes. He's a dual user.
Does he vape?
Well, is it
He
time?
has to.
Is it time to spill the beans?
Go on.
You may recall that Nigel Farage, in a couple of interviews and in videos that he put up on YouTube, mentioned that he had 2 friends who were very heavy smokers.
No, I didn't know this.
Well, he mentioned he had 2 friends that were very heavy smokers, one of whom was on 60 a day and now only used e-cigs. Those friends are Sav and me.
Really?
Yes,
God, blimey.
yes. Nigel Farage called me his friend. And he is a vaper.
Right.
Not,
You never told me that.
yeah, he's, as I say, dual fueler. He quite likes them, actually, but he uses them where he needs to. He still prefers a fag, and that's fine. his choice, no problem at all. Well, it wasn't until Sav and I went to meet him, and he kind of looked at the gear we were using, which was not what everybody thought an e-cig was at the time.
Yes.
And he now wanders about with an ego on his person.
Right.
Interesting, isn't it? Yes, Rob Tafey Farage has two friends. Or at least he said they were.
I heard something today, Dave, when he'd been interviewed, and the person interviewing him said, UKIP really, would you describe yourself as a libertarian party? And he said yes. And I couldn't help but think of you, Dave.
Well,
Really?
The amount of times you say I'm a libertarian.
Well, okay. I think I don't. Do I take that as a compliment? I'm not sure.
I would take it as a compliment because, I mean, I have to admit, I do like Nigel Farage. I can't help it. He's very charismatic and I do like him. I'm just sorry he doesn't have much of a party behind him. But give it time, let's see what happens. But as a leader,
yes,
by
but you
God,
see,
I have to give him respect.
the BBC have used, a really heavy bias against them. I mean, any discussion on the BBC about Nigel Farage concentrates on immigration and not the other issues. You see, what people are doing, it's a protest vote. And what people are wanting is a say on who runs this country. That's what it's about.
Yes, I've got to say, Sav's just typed into the chat and said she liked Nigel, but she's not too keen on his party. And I think I can echo that.
Give it time.
Yes. And
Time is up, by the way, talking of time.
Yeah,
We're actually overrun.
I've just got to read out what Jeff Benyon's just written. He says, I've heard of friend of Dorothy before, but friend of Farage?
Friend of Farage.
That one, that could enter the lexicon. You never know. Kizzy says, DD, get Nigel to Vape Fest. Votes go a long way if we get him on our side. Yeah. Alan Fletcher said, DD, get him on the show. He's offered. I'll take him up on it. Let's see if we can get him in and ask him what he's going to do about e-cigs and what UKIP's going to do about e-cigs. Would people be interested in that?
I would certainly be interested.
Certainly would be.
Yeah, there you go. So come on, I'm sure chat would.
I'll give him a ring. I have his personal number.
Oh God. His personal number. Yes.
So Sav. Sav's got it as well.
Hi, Nigel.
Hello, Nige. It's Dave. Do you want to come on telly? It's not question time, but we'll do. There you go. And on that bombshell, we're getting yeses. We're getting yeses, right? Yeah, if we can get Berlusconi as well, we'd have a party. Cool. They're all saying yes. And on that bombshell.
Yes. That's something to work on.
Aye, absolutely right. It's a good one. Okay, we have to go. I've been told the producer has said so, and I daren't cross cat, otherwise I get smacked. And it can be pleasurable, but let's not go there.
Oh, God.
What?
The mind boggles, yes.
Yes, absolutely right. So, tomorrow night, don't forget to tune in for Marco van Basten with Vapor Scene, followed by, at 10:45, pardon me, our German language show, DE Talk, which is in German, because it's a German language show, which is why it's in German. That'll be good. Steffi and Mark and Thomas and the crew will be there to speak with you all, if you speak German. If you don't, you'd be like me, just looking at the pictures and nodding. Wednesday night, Gary Dibley's back. How many?
No, he isn't.
Is he not?
No.
Oh, no, he's away.
Gary's not got a show this week. He's travelling down to, is it the big city for something or other.
The Smirk.
Won't be back in time. I think so. Yeah.
Gone to the Smirk. That London. So no Gary on Wednesday night. We think he's probably growing spare fingers, actually. But Thursday VT Talk will be. I don't think I'll get Nigel by Thursday, but I'll try. But VT Talk is back on Thursday. I'm hoping against hope we'll have Lorian, Cerulean C, along with us on Thursday night, because she's been talking to the people at Smoke Free Southwest, who traditionally, if you like, have been a right pain in the jacksie. But apparently things went better than we might have expected. So it's all good. It's going to be an exciting week on vaportrails.tv, and very exciting as well on RY4 Radio, which is on even now. Tune in, wig out, chill out, pass out, over and out, isn't it?
Over
Sounds
and
good.
out, and enjoy your back to work tomorrow.
Oh, you had to swear. We've gone through a
had
whole
to.
programme with
Somebody
any
had
damn
to do
size. That's shocking. Yes. So until we see you next time. Are you ready, Keith?
Yes.
2 fingers held down.
I can never do that.
I know. There you go. Keith's done it. Look at that. He's done it. He's done it. Are you ready, Keith?
Yes.
Vape on.
Bond.
Vape hard. And don't let the bastards grind you down. Till we see you next time.
Grind you down.
Grind you
Grind
you down.
Grind.
Grind. We'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.
night.
Bye bye.
Safer Cigs, sponsors of the Haze Hour.